So if that's the case, that is very much a beginner's kata, and one of our senior instructors before has actually termed it as a training kata. It trains you to understand the principles of performance to then take on to the more classical combative kata. The first one of which in our style is Saifu, we then move on to Basadai. I've not really looked into the Heian katas too much, or Bian katas, I'm not sure which way you term them. So, please forgive me if I term, Basadai as the first combative kata in Shotokan as a whole, rather than JKS, JKA. I'm not particularly up on the differences between the two, to be perfectly honest with you, and all the branches of Shotokan. Shotokan goes you way through, so on and so forth. So if I term Basadai as the first combative kata, please excuse me, I'm sure the Heian katas as a whole really fit together and create a complete style. But that's why there's 5 of them, so I would say, each one, from looking from the outside in, each one will be a segment. When you put them all together, then you would perhaps get the complete fighting style. Something I need to look into a bit more, wouldn't like to go into it extensively. But yeah, you also spoke about linking the Kihon to kata, and I agree absolutely 110% with that. And then again with Kumite. So you're talking, Kidabarai, for example, bang, coming through, link it right so you're doing it correctly. So when you do this move, it's exactly the same as you do it in your Kihon, it's just on a slightly different angle. The principle here of stepping through and punching couldn't be more similar to what you do. Basically coming through, bang, 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 and so on. It's exactly the same. Which then I believe you then start, you master the as close as possible, aim to master the physical performance side of it. Once you do that, you then begin trying to apply in Kumite, you then begin to understand and be able to apply the principles behind it. And that's where the idea of being able to master kata and apply it in Kumite would come into play. Excuse me. If we take, let's look at Basadai, for example. If we say simple moves, the Renuke, double blocks, when you do that, it can be, that's turning an opponent round and coming in at them from the side. So they have to come in, the double block, 1 block, 2 block, turn the opponent out to the side, you open their side up, and you can then breach the fortress. And so on. That would be a case of coming back, 1 block, 2 block, mastering the physical point of view, using the bunkai, 1 and 2, using the bunkai yo, so it comes into, so it's more into 1 block rather than 1, 2, so it's just 1. Then you get to apply it in Kumite, and then, when someone comes in, it can be then applying that to Kumite. So if someone comes in and 1, 2, you're there, pick them off to the side, put you on the side of the wall. So defense point of view, take out the knees, the ankles, the hips, bang, you've got the head wide open, you took another step round to the kidneys, to the spine, lots and lots of things you can do from there. I'm sure you'd agree. And then, from that point of view, once you understand it, you come back to the beginning again. So you come back around, full circle, back to your Kihon. You now understand the principles of Basadai. You can then begin to apply that theory when you're practicing Kihon, say, Nanuke, for example. So when someone comes in, you can imagine, say they're doing a front kick, like for use the example, you're turning them, so they're coming straight through, and you're turning them. So nice and simple, like you say. Instead of thinking just block, 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 you're thinking they're coming through, timing it right, and you're turning them, so they're coming through, boom, turn them around, you've got their back. So again, then you're applying the principles of Basadai to your Kihon, so it's going full circle. And you're linking everything together. I do believe that everything should be linked together. I don't believe in there's lots of people that will do silly combinations. One small gripe I've had with previous instructors is the likes of doing elbows from cat stance. Doing this, 1, 2, and combinations like this. Just simple, standing on the spot, or coming through, 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't see the point in that. Can you see that? Yeah? cat stance, and I'm right in front of it. So even from here, and cat stand right up against the wall. Do an elbow, can't reach the wall. So you literally have to have your leg between their legs to make contact with the elbow. And if that was the case, and you were in that close, I'll suggest you're in the wrong stance. It needs to be more of a sanction, or one snap, but lock the back leg in to make it more relevant to the situation, using the correct stance at the right time, and so on. And what was I going to say? That's it. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about your 3 points, wasn't I? And the 3 more. So repetition, agree completely. Repetition is the mother of all skill development. That's what develops instinct. Instinct is what you rely on in combat. Exaggeration, again, using the basics, your Kion, developing it into your kata, and then using it in your kumite. So while we're over here in Kion, there in kata, you'd be here in your kumite. So you're coming through from here, from a short fighting stance, maybe maybe in a sanction, because they're in close, bam, stepping out, boom, to a long forward stance, like stance, to straight, and then coming back. Using long forward stance again, so kuchi dash to come out, straight, coming back into a kokuta dash, like stance. So you've got that in and out. You've got the power generation coming forward, you've got the power coming back, you're in a kokuta dash, and you to get out the way, and you spring back, to boom, to come forward again. Lots of things you can do from there. So yeah, agree completely with exaggeration in Kion, but teaching students to understand the principle of exaggeration so that they know and understand how to apply that to their kumite. Excuse me. Isolation, yeah, of course. If you want to be able to do a section of moves well, you need to be able to do each move individually well, and then put it all back together. That brings us on to the topic of the contraction and expansion that you were talking about. We tend to term that as relaxed tense. So where you say contraction and relaxation and expansion, so you got the relax, and you're firing out, boom, and you've got that tension right at the end of the technique where you're making contact, where you need to be strong, and then relaxing completely again. So going back to the Dangarai example, it will be coming through, completely relaxed, tension, to lock everything in together. Now obviously from a strikes point of view, that is going to help you generate speed, and then when you make contact, that's what's going to stop the rebound, boom, and then relaxing again, to come straight back out, to leave the power in the target, the opponent, whatever, leave it in there, and boom, get back out again. You can talk about relax, tense, contraction, expansion all day. It's definitely something I am very, very, very heavy on with my students, probably from the first grade and onwards. Don't hit them too much with it as a white belt. I'll explain it to them, but I wouldn't expect them to perform straight away. Give them the time to generate the basic understandings, memory, muscle memory, to be able to actually perform the techniques, and then obviously move them on with the principle of progression to perform it more effectively. And again, I think that brings us around more or less full circle. I will leave it there again for now. I'm sure you'll have a couple of things to say on that. Thanks again for the video yesterday. I'm enjoying these discussions, learning lots of different things, making me think about things I already know in completely different ways, which